Video 104. Today we see the second part of the video relative to the history of the Ilario Bandini Museum. In the first video we saw the typical characteristics of Bandini's vehicles. We started from his last creation of the 1992 Berlinetta Bandini 1-liter turbo 16 valves, which led to the creation of the Bandini 1000.3 for the 1980 racetrack and high climb races. 1964 1-liter P is the last car analyzed. It was the Junior 1960, typical 1.1 liter. Today we will view another 4 cars I consider masterpieces exhibited at the museum. Always looking at the previously viewed car, we start first with the Saponetta. Built from 1957 to 1961, therefore, looking back, the fifth vehicle used at 7.5 motor, which is deviation of the Crossley and wisely modified for better performances. In the same car, we can also find 850 engines and 1-liter engine built entirely by Ilario Bandini. An interesting detail is the camshaft was working with a chain to get more power. This car received third place in 1964 Trento-Boldonen high climb race. It also received fourth place over at Mugello. This particular model has a great history due to its aerodynamically shaped and the light weight of its body. In fact, it only weighs 750 kilograms. It won many races and it is exhibited at Bandini's Museum in Forlì, Italy, and in an Los Angeles museum. All the Bandini cars had special tubular oval chassis. 9 cars Saponetta model were built. Saponetta started to build engine by himself instead of modifying Crossley engine as he did before. The body of this model was built in aluminum to make the car lighter. This model was definitely a small car and the displacement of its engine was also small. Now let's start to describe the 750 Bandini Zapato, year 1955. Zapato is one of the most important coach builders. This model, mechanically, is made from the 7.5 Sport Siluro. The car had racing performances and that kind of body could also be used to make a car used on the streets. Therefore, this Bandini Zapato model could be used daily. The engine is 7.50 cubic capacity and the body is very light, built in aluminum. The weight of the chassis of this car is about 20 kilos and the total weight around 450 kilos only. The principle used by Lotus car was just the same. The theory is if the car is lighter, the car goes faster. In other words, this car is a combination engine body developed by 2 genius people. Their names are Bandini and Zapato. The body has a nice combination of colors between light white color and red stripes. Now we are going to describe the Formula 3 Corsa, year 1954. This car was built between 1954 and 1958. This is the car described in the other video where we describe bicycle forks being used to make handmade suspension of the car. They were welded in a special way by Ilario Bandini. Engineer Ilario was always trying to make the car lighter and lighter. The weight of the chassis was only 16 kilograms, and it was very important to know that the chassis was light and strong at the same time due to the oval tubes. The Formula Junior model followed this car. Formula Junior was also a very light car. Disc brakes were installed instead of drum brakes. Sometimes we can find cars where disc brakes were installed on the front and drum brakes installed in the rear brakes, such as the Tommaso cars. The cockpit of the driver was too low, and Ilario Bandini could modify the position of the transmission in order to give to the driver the way to operate in a better comfortable driving position. Therefore, this was one of the many things discovered by this genius. Also, he made special rims and flat engine heads to get remarkable performances. The fourth car is a 750 Sport Siluro, which comes from 1100 Sport and its chassis weight only 18 kilograms. The engine is 7.5 cc, modified by Bandini with a special head with gear distribution. In some cars, the Seata engine was installed. In particular, this kind of chassis was so well done that so many different kinds of engines could be installed. Also, an Alfa Romeo engine could be installed to get more power to the car. The light weight of the car helped to get an improvement of the engine performances. Rules after the year 1956 change. Before that year, cars could race without fenders, but after that date, race cars had to have fenders and covered wheels for safety. Therefore, we have this 7.50 Sport Siluro, very competitive, and this model is the one used mostly in the most important races, such as Le Mans 24 hours, 1000 miles, and hill climb races. As we can see, this model was very competitive in different kinds of races, and it is could be driven in the races for 15 years in a row. Has been told before, in the 750 class after 1956, race car could compete with covered fenders and wheels, and here in this museum we can admire just the 750 Bandini, here 1956, directly modified by Ilario Bandini to have the fenders and wheel covered to race in future years. Watching this car, I can tell you that this is a very masterpiece. Looking around, we can see mechanical parts and these gearboxes where the Bandini logo is protruding on it. Also, here there is an open engine with a special flathead discovered by Mr. Bandini. Even the manifolds are so well done. At the first glance, we can see that they were handmade. Alongside the other mechanical parts, we can see engines and transmissions. We can talk about this 750 Saponetta and we can notice the lightweight chassis. In fact, this kind of chassis weighs on 20 kilograms and sometimes 17 kilos. They were so strong due to the oval shape. In fact, this special tubular oval chassis could resist when powerful engines with 150 and 160 horsepower. So we finish also the second video about Bandini Museum and History. I'm sure, I'm hope you will like these two videos. You can subscribe to the channel Auto Epoca Nord-Est. Just touch the bell to subscribe and see the cars in the new video. Thank you.